Ito, totoo na to.
Magandang gabi.
Bayan.
Umaga sa Pilipinas.
Shit.
Yeah. Ano tayo, Sean worldwide.
Oh, okay.
Buong mundo. Canada, US, Philippines, Singapore, Japan, Malaysia, everything. Saudi. Maraming Pilipino sa Saudi, sa Dubai.
Meron.
Yeah. And I'm sure may photographer din doon. Carlo, ano bang agenda natin ngayon?
Agenda natin ngayon, wala mga kwentuhan lang. Meron tayo, andito si Sean Armenta. Dating Pinoygrapher dito.
Ngayon, Pinoygrapher na dito.
Okay.
Yeah. Pinoygrapher worldwide.
Welcome sa ating show. Yeah. Ganyan tayo worldwide Oo.
I know. Look, Canada, no? So proud to be Canadian too. But, yung aking anak actually is American si Andrew. He was born sa Orange, UCI. So, so we love the States as well. We love the Americans and the Filipinos. But bago tayo guys, i-share muna natin lahat itong live natin para mas marami tayong makasama.
Okay.
If you want to do it, phones, join us. PG Live. Yan. Share. Saan ko nga i-share? Mali yata yung ginawa ko.
Hindi yata ako pwede mag-share.
Share.
Ang alam ng boss ko, may sakit ako ngayon
Okay lang. What mo? Join. That's nice.
Nag-absent ako kanina
Ang gawin mo lang, mag-ubo-ubo ka dyan, Dennis.
Hindi. Meron akong back problem.
Actually, sabi nga ng asawa ko, marami ka daw tawag dito, issues
Kalokohan. Dami kalokohan.
Madami kalokohan.
Oo.
Sciatica daw.
Oh, yeah.
Sayang tika.
Yeah.
So, ang guest natin is Sean. Alam mo si Sean, nung mga baguhan tayo sa PG, parang si Dennis, in my perspective, in my view, iyan yung mga tipong high-end fashion at saka yung parang mga model headset. Yung mga mukha yung
Beauty.
Mukha. Yung kilay, bilang na bilang Kung 12 dito, 12 din dito. Yan talagang saka meron kang mga technique noon na pioneer. Yung kumbaga, tawag dito, trailblazing techniques noong unang panahon. And much respect to you, Sean. So, nag-move ka nga sa Canada, sabi mo. So, baka ikwento muna kung ano yung mga huling mo sa States, or gigs, or sa photography, and then yung transition papunta dyan.
Yeah. Hindi, gusto ko lang actually acknowledge din ang...
Sorry.
Hindi, okay lang. Ang value ng Pinoygraphers. I mean, from that group, tungkol nakilala, most of my closest friends in the industry, in general. Ayan, si Dennis, Joey, si Labong, si Donty. I mean, those are, some of them ended up working with me for most of my career. Si Donty naging parang first assistant ko for a long time. I mean, we ended up sharing a house later on with with Bong and Joey and so Jerome. So Pinoygraphers was really where I found like my brotherhood, able to share photography and just work together. And when I remember when the first event was in Hollywood at the Pig. That, you remember that, Dennis? I know you were there.
Joey was there too.
PG?
Yeah, Joey was there too. Blind Pig maybe. But yeah, it was a big event that you guys threw, and then so you just invited me.
Yeah. Kasi na-meet ko si Sean online. Sinulatan ko. Sabi ko, just like what I did with David Anthony. Sinulatan ko lang lahat. Oh, I like this guy's work. So, sulatan ko to. Baka mabait. They'll let me assist. So, in any way I can. Doon ko na-meet si Sean. And then, nagkaroon yata kami ng, I think it was an anniversary.
Yon, anniversary, yeah.
Anniversary.
Mm-hmm.
ano yan eh, isa sa mga huli, wala ka na dito.
Wala na. Mhm.
Meron pa kaming pictures nun eh. So,
Yeah.
Yeah, so from there, doon ko na meet si Sean na, I think nakapagtrabaho na ako kay Sean noon eh.
Yeah, I remember one of the
Paul-
gigs that
Paul
I had
Mitchell.
Dennis on. We went to El Matador in Malibu.
Yeah.
Puta patay. Because to get to the beach, it's like you have to go down the cliff,
Yeah,
and
you
it's
have
very steep stairs.
Yeah.
Ang dala namin full production, so
Oh.
all
And
the gear,
Yeah.
all the stands. Puta,
I think
akot namin.
I think we're also racing for the time kasi yung high tide.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah, because we didn't want to get stuck there.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
You know, nung nasa States ka noon, Sean, full-time photographer ka.
Full
Full-time.
time.
That's
Full
what you
time.
do.
I started
too.
probably like 2004,
Mhm.
and then just went into it, just full steam ahead. And then I mean, that became my career for the next 15 years. And I saw a lot of changes in the industry. First, it was the fall of film and the transition to digital. And I was one of those people who was clinging onto film and saying, digital, it's crap. It's not the same. And eventually, you evolve and you realize that, it turned out to be a great tool. Digital allowed you to learn at a faster rate than with film photography, because you didn't have to wait. The immediacy was there. You saw your mistakes right away. And then if you had enough of a foundation, you can just learn from your mistakes quickly. And so I think that made it more widely available and allowed a lot more people to improve and get to a similar level. At the same time, then it kind of oversaturated the market a little bit. But even at that time, I had already built a good client base. Some of my clients I was working with for years. And then social media was another transition. And because of social media, it became less about your work and more about how many followers you had. For a while, I don't know how it is now, but for a while, it was like, even no matter how good you were, at the working guy level, I'm not talking about like Testino and all those guys at the elite level, but like working class guys like us, even if you had really great work, you have less than 10,000 followers, you have less than 50,000 followers, we're not going to hire you. We're going to hire this guy who has 100,000 followers, even though the work isn't as good.
That's good. Yeah.
But the clients at that time were going after this free exposure, free advertising model. And at the time, I felt, I had already established myself as a photographer, as a professional photographer. I think this was already like 10 plus years into my career. And I was like, well, why do I need to try to have, focus on trying to gain followers? Here's my work. Like, if you like it. So I think that part of the evolution, I didn't really catch on to. I just felt that it cheapened our craft a little bit, because, it's one thing if your work isn't great or whatever, but I mean, if you have a solid body of work, why does it matter who's following you on social media or not? I think that was just, to me, that was just like, I don't want to do this.
I guess that's why photographers like yung sina Jasmine Star, ano? Kaya sila sumisikat kasi marami silang followers eh. Pero at least nakapag-adjust sa digital, kasi ang work mo, aside from photography, nakapag-transition ka rin sa retouching, which is in the digital. I was hearing earlier na naging big part ng business mo din yan, di ba?
Yeah. I mean, I like the fact that I had control over my images after the shoot, as opposed to just handing in rolls of film. Unless you had your own lab, you couldn't do it. So you would just go to the photo lab, have them do it, and then get it back. But when digital came out and I learned about how to use Photoshop and retouching and all these post-production things, and that was all self-taught. And I realized how much control I had over the final product.
Became truly yours.
Yeah. You can add more than just the light or the composition.
Balikan tayo. Before Connect Digital, how long were you shooting sa film?
I've been shooting since I was a kid because that was my mom's creative outlet. One of her creative outlets. I mean, she was a pianist, and photography was another thing that she liked doing. So I grew up around it, and so I learned how to operate a manual camera very young. So it just stuck with me. And I mean, when I was young, I didn't necessarily think, oh, I'm going to be a professional photographer.
Right.
Like most Filipinos, we were all, you're either going to be a nurse or a doctor or, some sort of business, whatever.
Or
Pinoygrapher. And I was doing studies toward that. And then, my mom had passed away, and I was just like, there's nobody else. I'm on my own now. So maybe I want to do something that I really want to do, and which is something that's creative. And at the same time, I was in the Philippines at that time. I was actually working as a model in the Philippines.
Whoa. Okay.
And that's how I fell into the fashion industry. So that was my
I was going to ask
gateway to the fashion industry.
Yeah.
And I really enjoyed watching, like being on shoots and watching the photographer, mess with lighting and seeing the results of that. And I was like, man, obviously like modeling's not going to be a forever thing. So I was like, I'd much rather do this. So from then I started assisting for a little bit, and then just teaching myself. I never went to school for it. I would have wanted to, but at the time it was just not feasible for me to I didn't have the money to go to like art school. So I just really just learned
hands-on.
Hands-on. And I at the time, online was still kind of like fairly new. The internet's been around, but me as a older person, I just didn't think oh, hey, let's go Google something or watch it on YouTube. No, I would go to bookstores and the library and then just read books and take notes and then do it and then go back and do the same thing.
Wow. So you saw photographers in the Philippines aside from the PGs. Meron ka bang Filipino photographer?
Yeah, Ronnie Salvacion. I mean, but these are the older guys, right?
Google.
Toto Labrador. Who else? Neil. It's so. This is. I'm talking like 97. So some of the names have like. But one of my favorite photographers to work with was, oh my God, what is his name? I feel so bad now.
Filipino.
Yeah, Filipino. It's all in the Philippines. These are all Filipino photographers.
Yeah.
June De Leon.
June De Leon.
Legend.
Joey De Leon.
June De Leon. Joey De Leon, director.
I know. I was gonna ask.
Yeah.
People became Joey.
Sean, Ronnie.
Yeah.
I'm trying to get him in here.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Pag umuo yun, mahihain
Hook up mo kami, Sean. I-hook up mo kami. I-hook up mo kami, Ronnie.
Yeah, I mean, I doubt he remembers me. Like, I doubt any of those photographers remember me because it was so long ago, and I wasn't really like a top model. I was just working guy model. But yeah, it was a good exposure to photography. And I think it just opened up that door for me and gave me that motivation, and that's something I wanted to pursue, and I did. So, yeah. And even now, like I've been back to the Philippines as a photographer to work there. I was there, I think, for like 6 months doing photography, and really like the new photographers in the Philippines are super talented. I mean, they're really producing incredible work. Shira Luna, she is amazing. BJ Pascual, he's such a stellar photographer. and that generation of photography is, photographers in the Philippines are doing really well.
Is it because dahil sa digital photography? Kasi yung images na create nila is they have almost complete control.
Mhm. Yeah.
Right? Kasi, di ba, sa film, medyo, limitado on what you can do. But then, sa digital, pretty much, kung ano yung gusto mong makita, kaya mong, sa Photoshop, dahil Photoshop, yeah.
Yeah, and aside from the initial investment, in the long run, it's mas mura. I mean, you're not,
right.
You have one or two, large capacity CF cards, you're done. Yeah, I mean, that's what you need.
Yeah.
You don't need to keep buying film. You don't need to keep paying for processing, all that. So once you have your initial investment, then it's pretty good. The only thing you're upgrading, maybe is a new camera every, 2 to 3 years or whatever. But yeah.
I think the most maraming players, but still the cream will come on top. So
Yes.
like saying, right? So these guys that you mentioned, there's certain things that they do for you to say these guys are good, because there's thousands.
Oh, yeah.
Photographer dyan, right? But these guys caught your eyes. So bakit? Ano yung nakita mo sa kanilang ginagawa na makes them stand out?
It's hard to explain, but it's, if you want to say X factor as a cliche or whatever, but it's just a very distinct approach, and they have a very unique artistic like message that they're trying to say, and that comes through in their work. Like if you look at Shira's Instagram feed, it's really like if you just not even like just looking at if you just scroll up and down her Instagram feed, it's so beautiful looking, because she really took the time to plan it out, and she has a certain vision. It's not just like, oh, I'm just going to share this picture today and then this picture tomorrow.
It's a body of work.
It's a body of work, just her Instagram. So I think like young photographers now are more keen to being able to put together this new technology and new social media outlets, to incorporate that and integrate it into their photography, and vice versa. Like it's really amazing. For us, it's like, oh, we just used to just shoot and then just print it and then that's it. Like we didn't have to think about, the Instagram grid.
Social media played a big part of it, because you're always constantly being watched.
Yeah.
Ever since mag-start ka pa lang, bibili ka ng camera, you're nasa Instagram mo na kagad yan eh. And you're already aware now there's probably gonna be 5 people gonna comment on it, and so everything you do, but you're always, oh crap, what is this guy gonna say? So nung nag-start ako, hindi ganyan eh. So I think that played a big part too.
Yeah.
Kahit yung guest namin dati remember Carla, si Russell Brown, big shot yan pero he's always watching in social media. He's always looking for comments and counting his likes.
Ano na kasi ngayon yun na yung generation ng di ba nga sabi niya, it's the like generation. Like horror.
Yun na yung currency ngayon eh. Yun na yung commodity ngayon.
Oh, babalik ko lang sandali dito I'm gonna flash some images nung time na nag-ano ka. All this site mo is done in LA, correct?
It's actually a good mix of everywhere that I visited and worked in. So it's like LA, mostly US, and then some in the Philippines as well.
One of the things we do here, Sean, sa mga guests namin is namin yung favorite image.
Yeah.
If you have any, can you direct us to your favorite image?
Yeah, I mean, you were just on one of my favorite shoots.
Which one? Dito sa men.
Under men. So this is a shoot I did, and this magazine, Status, that's actually a Filipino-based magazine. Yeah, it's run by Rosario Herrera, who is an old good friend of mine from my modeling days. So she used to work for the modeling agency that I was in.
Okay.
Way back, and then eventually she, became a editor-in-chief for this opened up her own magazine. So what this magazine does is it just does more, celebrity features, and Sean O'Pry was one of those. And we shot that in Hollywood. This one over here that you're seeing now, that's actually done for Esquire in the Philippines.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was really grateful for being able to work with Esquire, because I mean it's a worldwide global publication.
Did they flew you there to shoot, Sean?
No, I was actually in the Philippines for something else. I was supposed to be on the Philippines Next Top Model show. That's why I had gone to the Philippines during that time.
As a model photographer.
As a judge.
Okay.
As a judge for the show.
Okay.
And we were working on it, and it just didn't end up happening, which is fine. It was a good experience nonetheless, because I was able to stay in the Philippines for a while and just work. That was a really fun shoot.
If there's anyone,
who styled these shoots with me was Mon Gutierrez. Yeah. So it's
gaganda.
It's a mag. Yeah, these are these pictures are what you see in magazines. I was gonna ask Sean, is there one image? They have one favorite in the site that you can show us? Like there's one.
It's hard. It's like your kids. You can't pick. It's hard to pick favorites.
No, question lang din. So diba sa ganitong photography or ganitong magazine. So for some of the viewers, siguro this is more editorial, diba?
Yeah.
Then so can you parang explain mo kung konti kung ano yung mga different yung not really style or kumbaga sa eto bakit siya tinawag na editorial photography or editorial na shoot?
So basically, just like fashion editorials, they're the magazine's way to feature clothing, and it's a way for the photography to tell a story using the clothing that they're featuring in the magazine. So usually you have like some sort of theme, whether it be streetwear or high-end couture clothing, but you're just creating a visual story using all those clothes. The setting plays into it, and so it's just a storytelling mechanism.
Malaking factor pa lang stylist dito, kung tutuusin. Kasi you need somebody that will like style them. Kasi yung trabaho ng photographer yung damitan sila, di ba?
Yeah, it's hard. I mean, everybody starting out usually doesn't have access to a good wardrobe stylist, and so you end up trying to do it yourself. It's never the same. It's never the same. So the stylist, and I think that's really what I loved about the fashion industry, was how collaborative it was, because it's not something you just go out and do by yourself. So you have yourself, you have the makeup artist, you have the hairstylist, and then you have fashion stylists.
Speaking
and you all work
this.
Yeah.
Go ahead. No, go ahead, Sean.
Yeah, but so you're all from different disciplines.
Yep.
All doing different things, but you're all working together to do the same thing, which for me was always what kept it exciting, because it's never the same thing over and over again. And for different shoots, you would work with a different crew, and so you would always experience just all these different talents coming together. So it was really nice.
So you have to have a certain type of personality na makokontrol mo yung grupo, but at the same time, kailangan mo sila. It's like, is the photographer, can you consider the photographer the team leader that directs the directional?
Yeah, I feel it's, if you were going to liken it to like making a movie, then the photographer is probably, you could say that's a director. And it's not to say that that's the most important role, but because you're kind of taking the final picture, so in a way you have to lead your team to get to that point where, okay, yeah, this is exactly what we were looking for that, for that moment. So
Isa pa
And
yun.
then
Yeah,
may
it's
Isa pa yun, Red.
scouts. Sorry, just isa lang, Dennis. Katulad dito nga sa trend. Like, who thinks about all of this? So, saan kayong, anong location, anong susuotin? Like, it's...
yeah. So we do like pre-production meetings, and then these images that you see with the train. This is actually more of a lookbook. So this is for one designer. So all the clothes that you see are made by the same designer. So it's sort of like a catalog, but not really. It's more of like an editorial style catalog where the designer gets to showcase his collection for the season. And they shoot it like this. And this is normally not really directed for the public. This is more directed for the distributor. So this is something that he would show Macy's or, Nordstrom's, and to get Nordstrom's to carry their line. So this is a lookbook for that purpose. So it's up to the client comes to me and says, okay, well, this is what my collection looks like. I have some ideas. These are the 2 guys that I want to be in it. So from there, then I collaborate with them and I say, okay, well, what about try this location and this location? He also had an art director that was a part of the shoot, and the art director already had a certain vision that they wanted to follow. So I take that art direction and then I also put my own spin on it. And yeah, these are the results. I was really happy with this shoot. This was a fun shoot. All available light, chasing sunset light, the whole time. There's one, so this train is actually a real, like it's actually a functioning train in LA. It's downtown LA. And I mean, the timing couldn't have been better because we got these 2 guys with the train going by. And then if you can see the very middle shot of the guy on the train really passed. And I just told him, hey, can you get on there? And he ran after it, jumped on it, and I was running trying to shoot. So yeah, that was real fun.
Wow. Dennis, sorry for cutting you.
Oh, no. Because I mean, yung in-explain kasi kanina ni Sean, and how do you come up with all this? Kasi usually a photographer, yan yung isa sa mga unang tinatawagan eh. So you get to have a say also, sinong gusto mong i-involve, your stylist and everything, So
yeah, it depends. It depends on the client. Some clients, and it depends on how you get hired onto the job. Like sometimes they'll already have everyone they need, and they're just looking for the photographer. So in that case, you're forced to work with the team you're given. But sometimes, they'll start with the photographer, and then they'll say, "Oh, can you put together a team for this job?" And I do that as well. And yeah.
Do you have to be alpha? Do you have to be alpha in the team, especially if they already have a team and you're just coming in? Is there some type of personality or control that you should have?
It's tough because it's definitely situation can happen where it feels like there's too many cooks in the kitchen. And that, especially if it's newer people that you're working with, you've never worked with them before. So everybody's trying to establish their, not dominance, but their will. And they want to have it their way. But in the end, I think the responsibility lies on the photographer just to kind of take that leadership role. Because, in the end, it's your work that's going to be shown. It's everybody's work that's going to be shown. And when you see a picture, you don't necessarily think like, oh, who did the makeup on that? You think, oh, who shot that? That's like the first question, right? So I feel like the photographer should take a leadership role. But as far as like personality wise, I mean, it's different for everyone. There's photographers who are very like, it's my way or the highway type deal. Myself, I prefer team members to be able to voice their opinion and give their input, because I feel like that's more of a creative process. And if you're able to kind of be a little bit more flexible and take people's input into consideration, I think it results in a better outcome. But you as a photographer, you have to have the type of personality that's like you have to be able to deal with all different types of personalities and different dynamics. So you're kind of like the glue that holds everything together.
Yeah.
That yung time na nandito ka, Dennis, di ba? Nakapagtrabaho kayo together. Ano ang kasi may mga assistants ka before, meron kang inside and outside Pinoygraphers, di ba? At one point, nagkaroon ka ng dynamic na. How was it like working with Dennis?
It was good. I mean, Dennis is a soldier. Like he's an actual soldier. He's literally a soldier. He's so you know, he has that in him that he just does it, you know, do it whatever it takes. Like we just need to do it, right? Like that's kind of, you have to do that when you're in war or whatever. Like there's no like, oh, I don't feel like doing that, you know. No. So Dennis, I remember just hauling stuff, and at the time I didn't even know like he had like Dennis, you had like bad knees or something, or you had like an injury.
Yeah, I had meron ako my right knee.
Yeah. See, I remember that, and I was just like, man, I feel so bad.
No, I learned that with another photographer that I work with, you know, David Leslie Anthony. Carlo, nag-assist ka rin dun eh, magkasama tayo, di ba? You know. Mm-hmm. Saka, I think it's more of a mentality of, I always like to put myself in the shoes of the guy I'm working with. I mean, this guy got paid to do this, and whatever makes it easier for him, lighten up the load, mas magiging creative siya. So ang role ko is to make it easier for the guy. You know, I mean, I guess I was fortunate and blessed that I get to see this guy work, you know, while he was still here, you know, that time. Kasi siya, and then I have like a very short list of photographers that I really want to work with. I think it's like more of a pleasure of seeing how they do it, you know. David Leslie Anthony, Shishan Armenta, Mark Sacro, and then Eddie Baute. Basta konting-konti lang eh. And I was blessed, you know, and fortunate that I get to see the guy work, you know.
But I definitely want to say, like, a lot of people don't understand, oh, you're a photographer's assistant, so parang, parang utosan ka lang. No, that's not the case. It's so important. Like the photographer's assistant role is so important because just like Dennis said, it does alleviate you as a photographer to be able to focus on certain things and not have to worry about, oh shit, I gotta adjust this and I gotta run here and there. So while you're looking at the scene, your assistant, and if it's, you know, if they're a good assistant, like Dennis is, like they'll know exactly, like, oh, if he means, like when he says, hey man, you know what, I need less of a highlight or I need a stronger highlight, then they know how to adjust, and you don't have to like necessarily explain it.
Right.
So it helps you just kind of look at the scene, give out your instructions, and then arrive at the vision that you want. You know, so it's not necessarily like a personal assistant. It's more
right.
Yeah.
Creative assist. Maring collaborator mo na rin sila.
Yeah. And eventually, especially if you have like an assistant who works with you regularly, then that person really becomes your second eye. That person is the one helping you as a photographer get what you want out of the shoot.
That just gave me a light bulb moment, Carlo. Isa sa maganda nating i-train or a workshop na is how to be a photographer assistant. It's not just anybody that can come into the studio and say, okay, this is my assistant. Like you're describing, you need special skills, like things like that. How you call things. So I think it's something that we can develop in terms. Kasi pag magaling kang photographer assistant, gagaling ka rin photographer eh.
Yeah.
Kasi malalaman mo na kung paano. I guess you start like Dennis, right? He's good. He became good because by assisting. I think it's a good step rather than telling people, okay, you go straight to photographer. I think it's also that option that if you want to start an assistant, it will help you a lot too.
Yeah, because I think for my case, yung kay Sean, I think it was a Paul Mitchell project. So I have the shoot list. So what Sean did was in-email niya kami lahat eh. So I have to like look at, okay, ito yung project ni Sean. And we have this time to this time. And then you have to incorporate also na aayusan pa yan. May make-upan pa to.
Mhm.
And at the same time, kukuha ka pa ng film permit. Kukuha ka pa ng clearance kay ganito. And then you have to look at where they're gonna shoot. So, knowing na alam ko kung anong kailangan niyang i-accomplish that day, my job is to make sure that he gets it done. So, yung mga ilaw, it's gonna take us this much time para dalhin lahat
Mag-set
dito.
up. Mhm.
Yeah, so at the same time, titignan ko rin yung relo ko. Mag-high tide. We have to get back out of here. Ang bibigat pa nung mga dala namin.
Yeah.
And I'm not talking about just regular C-stand.
Yung lumang pro photo.
No, ito yung anong tawag doon siya, yung malaking broncolor na
Yeah, we brought some good lights out there. You know, we're bringing like movie stands.
Yeah, movie stands. And then
these are triple risers. They go up to like, you know, almost 20 feet in the air. Yeah.
Parang ganito.
Yeah. So all the Matthews stands. So these are not like alien bees with like the little foldable cowboy studio stand.
No.
Yeah,
Heavy duty lahat yan.
Yeah, it was like different from when I was assisting David, when I was assisting Sean. It was like a totally different setup, different systems.
Different photographer yan eh.
Yeah. Second assistant niya ako. First assistant niya, I remember, is now. Yeah, that guy.
Oh.
Yeah.
That guy was a genius.
Dude, he's doing so well. He's doing so well in Japan now.
Yeah.
I'm so proud of him. He's doing really well.
Okay, balik natin sa ibang picture. So, pinag-usapan natin yung work mo with collaborators, with agency, with other creatives. Dito naman sa beauty, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So, when you're working sa mga beauty shoot mo, mostly is it an art piece na ikaw lang, or how, you know, is it may collaborator ka ba dyan, or, you know,
it depends. Yeah, it depends. So this is actually the client is a leather maker. So she makes all those leather, like the collar. So parang yung style niya is medyo like gothic fetish type stuff. And she's well known in LA, and I just wanted to do a different take on it. And that's what you see here, because, you know, usually when you think of leather and the fetish stuff, it's like a little bit on the sexy side. And I wanted to bring the focus to the actual piece, and then incorporate just like, you know, a little bit of a beauty look to it, just to make it different from what everybody else was shooting. And that was a really fun day too.
She reminds me of Blade Runner, no?
Yeah.
Carlo, may phone-in question si parang Joey. Sabi niya, how do you differentiate mga GWC with a real assistant or the person who really want to assist, mga bro? Sabi ni Joey.
Si Burao ba yan? Si Burao?
Asan siya?
Where is he?
Siya, nanonood siya, hindi siya sumali sa atin eh. Actually, Joey, if you want to join,
yeah, you could.
Tell him to jump in here.
Yeah,
meron kang link.
His question is, how do you know if it's just a GWC?
Yeah. Siguro, ewan ko sa parang kung ano yung intention mo, right? If you just kind of wanted to be on set and just see a bunch of, you know, girls, then thank you. But if you're there to really assist and to like want to learn and further your own craft, then, you know, more, I guess that's the difference. I mean, there's not all assistants become photographers themselves. There's some that are just professional assistants, and that's what they're the best assistants in the world. Like, that's what they do. And they're not just stuck to one photographer. Sometimes they have 5 or 6 photographers that they assist. So they're always working.
Carlo, Joey, sumasali daw si Joey, hindi daw siya makapasok eh. Maybe he has a wrong link.
Maybe he has, pero sige, bibigay ko sa kanya yung link.
So speaking of mga ganyan, mga GWC, so Sean, palaging pag napag-uusapan yung makeup artist, napapangiti si Dennis eh. Ano ba yung kwentuhan tungkol sa makeup artist? Baka paka-fill in mo naman kami dyan.
Loko-loko.
Hindi ko naman
Stacy ba? Ano yun to?
Sira ulo kayo.
No, may sinasabi tungkol sa makeup artist eh. I don't know.
Ewan.
Ewan, okay.
Ewan.
No comment, sabi ni Sean. So, well, okay. So, kwentuhan mo muna kami yung paglipat mo dito sa Canada. So, kasi alam mo, pinanonood ko yun, nung umalis ka sa dyan, nag-drive kayo, di ba?
Yeah.
Even nung nag-cross ka ng border, nakikita ko yun. I was following your journey. So, and then sabi mo nga, pagdating mo dito, parang nawala ang photography. Ano bang nangyari sa'yo?
Yeah, I mean, it was even before that. Like, I think photography has definitely like slowed down for me, in the past couple of years. Kuya Joey!
Okay. Nakapasok din.
Alam niyo kung ano nangyari? Kaya sumasali ako. Ako pa ng link, yung last time na link natin, Carlo.
Doon pumapasok.
Yeah.
Kaya pala eh.
So anyhow, yung tanong ko doon sa di ba marami kasing gusto mag-assist sa atin eh. Na mga lang, gusto lang makita ng nakahubad na babae or sexy babae.
Ako yun.
Bago, maraming ganon, di ba? Pero marami naman yung talagang gustong matuto.
Yeah.
Minsan mahirap yun sa una eh. Hindi mo malalaman till nandoon ka na sa set.
Hindi. Pag pinaghirapan mo yung trabaho niya, doon mo makikita.
Bago, di ba, minsan yung pag ano tawag dito, pag nasa set na, yung mga real na talagang gustong matuto, assistant lang talaga, nakapokus sila. Meron mga gustong mag-assist. May dala-dala ng camera. They're not really assisting you. Gusto lang nila mag-shoot ng model mo.
Ayun.
Right. Yung marami rin ako na-encounter na gano'n eh.
Yeah.
Ako, pag nag-assist ako, walang camera ang dala. Light meter ang dala ko eh.
Dapat ganun, di ba? Dahil gusto mo matuto, right? Pero marami ka ma-encounter na na-experience. I'm sure marami na kayo na-experience na gano'n na pagpunta ko, dito lang camera.
Yeah. Hindi, I mean, parang wedding, hindi mo araw yun eh. Di ba? Araw nung kinakasal eh.
Tinatanong nga ako nung kung photographer ako, sinasabi ko, hindi po. Yun yung amo ko. Kasi di ba, pinagalitan ako ni David Anthony noon eh.
May dala kang camera?
Kasi yung nag-shoot siya ng Von Dutch, andun ka nung Carlo eh.
Pinagalitan ka?
Kinausap ako nung may-ari ng Von Dutch, yung asawa niya. Dating model yun eh. Nakalimutan ko pangalan. Kasi, naalala ko yun, binababa ko yung naalala mo yung motorsiklo ni Steve McQueen? So, yun yung race bike na 1929 Scott.
Patanda mo pa.
Oo, grabe, no? Nung binababa ko yun, tinatanong niya ako. Sabi niya, "Oh, are you from around here?" Ginagano niya ako, "Yeah, I'm from San Diego. Are you also a photographer?" Like, sometimes. But you gotta talk to that guy. Tapos, binulungan ako ni David. Don't talk to her. Ginagano niya ako. Don't talk to her. You talk to me, and I talk to you, but you don't ever talk to anybody else. Ginanon ako, pati si Carlo. Okay, sabi ko, okay. Kasi, tapos later on, in-explain na nga niya na dadating yung panahon na you're gonna have your own clients. You do not want to mess with the team going on kasi vision na nila yun eh. So, ever since nag-assist ako, hindi ko sinasabi na photographer.
Yung mas common na nakita ko nung time ko is may mga nagdadala ng sarili nilang business card tapos pinapamigay dun sa shoot mo. Ina to
Ibang klase yun.
Yeah. So yun, no. That's a no.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh my God.
Ibang klase. O, teka. Babalikan ko yung Asan na ba yung istorbo ako ni Joey eh. Ala, what happened? Oh.
Si Joey ba?
Okay. Yeah, kasi yan. Balik natin dito. So, again, yung idea for shooting beauty, for you ba, what constitutes or why, bakit mo masasabing this particular shoot is about beauty or about paano mo nakakategorize?
Para sa akin, ang beauty is ang focus ang sa mukha. Or pwede ring katawan na either a nude body or implied nude body. But it's not necessarily devoid of clothing kasi nakita mo naman dito nakagamit. Pero ibig sabihin, yung focus ng shoot nito is for that particular shoot is nails. So naka-feature lagi yung nails. So that was for a nail magazine, Nail Pro. But it's usually, it has to do with what you're featuring is makeup, hair, or nails, or jewelry. Jewelry, ganun din kasi kailangan in tight. Ang nag-attract, beauty sa akin is ang paborito kong i-shoot. Kasi talagang kailangan meticulous ka dyan eh. Kasi kita kagad yung mga mistakes mo. Kasi close in ka eh.
Right.
So, mga lighting mistakes mo, mga retouching mistakes mo, kita kagad. Kasi in close ka. Yun yung parang sa akin, medyo may pagka-perfectionist ako na gusto ko perfect lahat. So, yun ang na-attract. Yun yung challenge sa akin eh. At saka, yung palette mo, yung canvas mo talagang limited, di ba? Kasi hindi lang, it's not like you can just put a model in the field na maganda yung landscape, so kahit anong gawin mo. Here you have to really know how to light. You have to know how to retouch. The makeup artist has to be really good. Hair has to be really good. Kasi lahat to, it has to be as flawless as possible.
May say ka ba sa Sean? May say ka sa halimbawa sa mga models kung meron kang pinagpipilian?
Yeah. Sometimes, like anything else, that maybe the client already has the model. But if you're involved in the casting process, mas maganda. Kasi nakikita mo you can sort of preview through the casting, like what the model's going to look like on film and with the makeup on and all that stuff. So for beauty, importante dyan yung bone structure ng mukha. Tsaka yung features ng mukha. It's not necessarily like, magandang babae. You have to pay attention to the shape of the jawline, the cheeks, cheekbones,
Yeah. Sometimes meron magaganda sa personal, pero pag kinuha ng picture, hindi masyado.
Right.
Yeah.
Like
sa mga team na nakaka-work mo, may mga specific ka na lagi mong ka-work, maraming team ka nakakatrabaho, iba-iba, right?
Yeah.
May ibang production, iba-iba team.
Yeah.
Pero na-remember ko si Nugi, alam ko, paborito mo yun, right? Lagi mo sinasama sa mga mo yun, right? So may mga paborito kang always has to be there sa lahat ng work mo. Katulad makeup artist kasi, may kilala ko, like si Dencho, may mahilig ng makeup artist, may specific na makeup artist na tinatrabaho niya yun all the time. Idasin na
Yeah.
Ikaw ba ganun ka rin?
Yeah, when you take someone who like Nugi who does amazing hair, it's not like he can only do one thing. He does everything really, really well. And when you find somebody like that, you like to hire them all the time because wala ka na problema eh. Like, alam mo yung abilidad niya. You're so confident in what he can do that, whether it's like just a regular hair look or talagang avant-garde na out there talaga yung ideas, nagagawa niya. So, of course, that's somebody you want to work with. And the more you work with someone, the more they know what you're trying to go after and the more you understand what they do.
Pero di ba yung mga marami din tayo nakatrabaho, especially ikaw na mga sumikat like si David, si Mayeda, right? Di ba dati nakakatrabaho lang natin yun, nakakashoot lang natin.
Yeah.
Next thing you know, si Mariah Carey na sa lahat ng concert niya, siya nagbe-makeup doon, nagagawa ng hair.
Yeah. And that happens, and it's a good thing that happens. Like even Nugi, there's no way I can book him for a shoot because he's always so busy with bigger jobs, and that's fine, that's good. But even the people who used to assist Noogie, like now, like sila Ree, si San Ree.
Right.
I mean, she's working with Sam Smith. She tours with Sam Smith and does grooming for him. Or she's, in China doing Vogue. Like that's huge.
Yeah, pero sa like sa'yo, right? Kung may mga kliyente kang solid na kliyente ka, kunyari Forever 21, tapos ito yung mga ka-team mo, and then all of a sudden, may sumikat doon, then they have to leave. Start ka naman from scratch. You have to find somebody naman to replace them.
Pero by the time na you get to that point, meron ka ng maraming kilala na magaling din, na you can always pull from. So, yun yung importante din is not to just work with the same team over and over again. Kasi masa-stifle yung creativity mo eh. Kasi everyone's just, if you keep working with the same group of people, it's just going to be stagnant. You're not going to be able to draw new things and new ideas from new people. Right. So it's nice, like when I was working a lot, I probably had at least 10 of each. So 10 hairstylists that I would always work with, 10 makeup artists I always work with. And sometimes if I have free time and I'm just doing test shoots, like I'll try new people and see how they work with me. Because it's not just the quality of their work, it's how they work with you and how you work with them.
Yeah, and
so personality counts as well.
Yeah,
and reliability.
I remember working with this girl, Sunny. You remember Sunny?
Yeah.
Sunny, yeah.
Yeah, Sunny. She approached me once. Sabi niya, hey, kilala mo, you know Sean, right? Like, you think like, I could work with him? Yeah. Buka mo lang, he's gonna. And next thing you know, isa na sa mga regular.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's kailangan talaga malaki yung network mo eh. You have to keep it growing too.
Yeah.
So do you pay your artists sa test, Sean, or no?
For test, no. Kasi, I mean, usually when you're doing a test shoot, understood sa lahat na pang portfolio yun eh. So, kumbaga walang kumikita for that shoot anyways. But that shoot will result in future jobs. Kasi yun yung ilalagay mo sa portfolio mo, papakita mo sa kliyente. Then you'll get booked for something.
Yeah, because if you're paying the makeup artist, who's gonna pay you?
Yeah. Pero ngayon, like, I don't know about the situation dyan, pero dito, kasi ako, kumbaga, considered amateur naman ako sa model photography dahil hindi naman talaga ako nag-charge like Sean, right? So if I want to do a shoot, ang mga makeup artist dito is medyo mga may-ere kasi parang, okay, kailangan mo kong bayaran kahit medyo ganun sila dito sa Ontario. I don't know sa lugar ninyo. So, kaya ko tinatanong yon.
It depends on nasan yung mga level nyo. So if halimbawa for you Red, sabi mo you're medyo amateur. If the artist that you're trying to work with is talagang
magaling,
levels above you, di syempre parang para sa kanya
walang use.
I get to work with, famous photographers all the time. For me to work with somebody who doesn't do this for a living, that's not really going to benefit me. So it's the benefit balance, right? Like who's benefiting, who's not.
No, I get it. I'm just saying na dito, especially as amateur photographers, is like yung mga modelo ngayon ang kumikita, mga modelo na naguhubad, tsaka yung mga tawag dito, makeup artist, yun ang mga kumikita ngayon eh. Maraming yumaman ngayon sa COVID yung mga nagti-TikTok, biglang naging yumaman yung mga magbubad ka lang, putya, yayaman ka eh. Di ba? Kahit lalaki eh. Kaya baka gusto nyo sideline, guys. Anyway.
Si Joey pwede mag-OnlyFans.
Pero yun na nga mga trend ngayon, di ba? Marami ng Instagram model, di ba? Puro selfie na nga lang. Sila na lang nagkukuha ng pictures nila. They make money off of it kasi dami na nilang followers,
Yeah. So yun nga yung parang sinasabi ko earlier was kung followers lang pinag-uusapan, parang na nagte-take away sa craft, sa artistry. Kasi kung followers na lang pinag-uusapan, di kahit sino na lang. May 1 million followers ako. Yun na yun eh.
Yeah.
Pero yun talagang target ng mga social media platform, even YouTube, di ba?
Yeah.
Yung mga vloggers, the more followers ka, ikaw yung babayaran kasi sa advertisement nila, right?
Yeah,
It doesn't
yeah.
matter kung how crappy yung work mo is, pero
I
kung
know.
marami kang followers.
Hindi ko lang matanggap yun.
That's the name of the
Usapan namin
game right
kanina
now.
yun eh.
Yeah. Kaya nakikita ko gano'n.
Wala, matanda na ako.
May nakakausap nga akong vlogger sa YouTube eh. Kumikita ng pera sa YouTube, nilayaya ka. Sabi niya, hey, why don't you start vlogging din ng kahit yung mga hiking mo lang, yung mga GoPro mo lang. Based on that pala, dumadami na yung followers mo. Yung nakikita ko sa kung mga mahilig mag-hikers, the more tumaas yung followers mo, babayaran ka ng YouTube.
Career na ngayon yan, career YouTuber, career na ngayon.
Yeah.
Pero,
pag bisikleta, yun yung gagawin ko, YouTube pang bisikleta.
Yeah,
Yun na yung bagong career ko.
Biking, ha? Ako din.
Kailangan ko ng GoPro. Wala akong GoPro eh.
Hindi siya, why not? Tapos ka ng tips. Maraming talaga sa'yo. Papalo doon sa'yo nun.
Speaking ng sorry, guys, balikan ko lang yung pagpunta mo dito sa Canada na kanina is, pagka-open na ang mga bagay-bagay, sabi ni Carlo kanina, mag-workshop ka sa Canada or Toronto, pumunta ka dito.
Tulungan kita.
Tulungan ka ni Carlo, paano kung
parang oversaturated na rin yung workshop eh. Kasi, I don't know. I just feel na parang, and not that I'm done with it. I mean, I'll be glad to do it, but I just don't think, I think maybe my take on it is not as current as everybody else's. Kasi, syempre, I mean, if we're just talking about technique, siguro lighting, okay. So if you can start doing like, what is the social media aspect of this, then I probably...
I think ang labanan ngayon talaga social media. I mean, how effective you are in marketing yourself as a photographer. Kasi syempre, ngayon, okay, so sobrang mura na ng gamit, accessible na lahat ng mga gamit, like all of this stuff that we have right now, it's like, oy, meron kang 64,000 ISO camera for the same amount of money that, or cheaper. Diba?
Yeah.
So kung lahat ng technology has actually been a bane for hardcore photographers because naging accessible.
Yeah.
Pero ngayon ang labanan is, marketing. May question dito, sandali. Do you edit all your photos or outsource?
I would say 90% is done by myself. And there's some jobs where the retouching required is outside of my skill set. So usually pag advertising, maraming composite na yan eh. They're going to put copy on it. They're going to maybe they just switch the whole background. So in that case, then I outsource it to a professional retoucher who does that all the time. So yun.
Anong turnaround usually?
Pag ako gumawa?
Or either ikaw or an outsource?
Usually pag ako gumawa, sinasabi ko 2 weeks. Tapos I overestimate and underestimate and over deliver, something like that. But yeah, I give them, I always say 2 weeks and then I try to do it in 1.
Okay. Pag outsourced.
But if it's pag outsourced, depende yun. I mean, usually they'll do it within a week, depending on the complexity of the job.
Tapos may back and forth ka pa.
May back and forth yun. So they're going to show you the first mock-up or whatever, and then you'll see, oh, can you change this, or this needs to be changed, and then back and forth na yun. And then sometimes it's not even with you anymore. Wala, labas ka na doon. It's with the art director and the actual client that they deal with.
Paano in-outsource mo, bumalik sa'yo, totally hindi kayo aligned. So, anong mangyayari?
It's rare na that happens kasi may conversation that happens before that. Kumbaga, you just don't just send your images out and go, oh, bahala ka na. let's see what you come up with. Meron ng art direction na yan na kailangan sundan nila.
So, and with the body of work, from fashion, celebrity, beauty, for the, mga gustong pumasok.
Yeah.
kumbaga sa ano, what's the first step, ika nga? I mean, si Joey, alam natin, si Dennis, alam mo yung mga first steps nakita ng mga Pinoygraphers. Pero from your perspective, baga, nanggaling ka sa film, nag-transition ka ng digital, and then you're doing all your work. Kumbaga sa ano, how, you know, ano yung first step?
If you want to become a photographer?
Yeah, like,
That's the first step.
be a Pinoygrapher.
Second step, Sean.
Yeah, okay.
Be a Pinoygrapher. Iba na ngayon eh. I mean, I think we're the era of just being a photographer is done. It's like as extinct as film. The biggest hurdle that I encounter when I'm looking for work is they're looking for photo and video from the same person. So if you're going to be competitive in today's market, you have to know how to do video and stills, mostly video. Because now they just pull the still from the video file.
Right.
Hindi na, I mean, you're not doing it separate anymore. You know, especially with the cameras that you have now, you can do that.
Yeah.
So, ang labanan is editing, color grading, and gear. And I think that's yun yung one of the reasons why hindi ako nag-pursue ng video, even though I kind of regret it a little bit because kailangan ngayon eh. But yung amount of gear that you needed to shoot video with the SLR, ang daming add-ons, di ba? Kailangan yung frame, tapos yung monitor. I mean, it really added up. And at the time I was like, I don't want to spend like all this money. You know, and at the time it was just starting. So I was just like, no, I think I'm just going to stick with photography. And unfortunately, you know, that I needed to be able to do video. So now it's, you know, I might end up trying to do it, but at the same time, it just seems like too much for now. So
nag-blur na kasi yung lines eh, no?
Yeah. And you know, everything is online, and motion is you know, important for online because it captures a bigger audience if they can watch something instead of just like looking at picture after picture. You know, dati print yung media. Print was king.
Right.
So that's why still photographer, you're just gonna flip through magazines.
That is true.
I mean, it might get easier kasi maikli ang attention span ng tao na ngayon eh. So, yung papagawa sa'yo, it could be like 30 seconds to a minute video only. So,
yeah.
Parang ikaw, Dennis.
Yeah,
yung ginagawa mo yan.
Yung sa amin, ganun eh. I mean, it's different. Sa Air Force naman, I work for the Air Force now, by the way, Sean. So
oh, nice.
Yeah, so public affairs. I don't work on helicopters anymore. So I do PA stuff. So, yeah, puro ganun. It's nice kasi I don't have to worry about makeup artists. I don't have to worry about stylists, you know, art directors.
Yeah.
Kasi kung ano yung, hindi mo naman kailangan ayusan si ganito eh. So, pero, like Carlos said, yung video and photo, ano na eh. Pero it gets easier kasi ang attention span ng tao is shorter. So, pag lumampas ako ng 1.5 minutes, they won't let you.
Wala na.
Yeah.
Yeah, pero yung work-wise, I think mas matrabaho pa rin yung video though.
Yeah.
Matrabaho. Looking at the clip, I mean, parang madali lang.
I mean, post-production lang.
Right.
Sinubukan ko eh. For a while, sinubukan ko mag-video editing. Kasi si Jerome, kasama natin doon, di ba, Joey?
Yeah.
Sa bahay. So, si Brua. So, I mean, we were, you know, he went to school for film. So I was able to, and I remember we did a workshop for Jerome to do like video and video editing. So I learned a lot from Jerome, and then I tried it on my own, and he guided me along with it. And I was like, wait, for me to do a 3-minute video, I've been working on this thing for like 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I was like, no, too much. Kasi retouching.
Galing, mga bata ngayon, galing yung TikTok. Yung ginagawa nila sa TikTok. Kung gaganon sila, tapos pagka ganon, iba na yung damit.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sa TikTok lang nila ginagawa yun. Dati Premiere Pro, 2 weeks. Buti na si Carlo.
Hindi, pero yung TikTok, ibang level yun. Private yun.
Pero gagaling nila eh. Hindi mo alam paano ginagawa eh.
Pero yung
Nakapala na ng mukha doon eh.
yung trabaho ko yun, hindi naman din ako videographer, pero nag-start na ako mag-drone. So, pinag-aaralan ko rin yung
Video na rin yan. Yeah.
Yeah, yung Adobe Premiere, mga clips kong ginagawa, 4 to 6 hours, mga 2 minutes clip lang.
Oo.
Ang hirap lang sa video kasi like on a still frame, you work with one frame.
Yeah.
Sa video, it's either you work with 24 frames or 30 frames. Each individual frame counts. Tapos, each frame from the next frame should tell a story. Parang sa editorial, meron kang suspension of time sa editorial dahil you can shoot, nandito siya sa isang scene and then he could be in another scene and then you just imagine kung ano. Pero sa video, you sort of
continuous eh. Yeah.
Kailangan mo logic eh. Na parang, hindi siya pwedeng ano lang unless na yun yung gusto mong mangyari. Pero there's so much more involved sa video and editing na tipong kailangan mo talagang ipigain lahat eh. So yeah, that's true. A 3-minute video can take 2 to 3 weeks.
Yeah.
Tapos may audio ka pa.
May audio. Pero ito pwede mo i-outsource ang audio.
Saka mas mahirap sa video, no? Yung video,
sabi ko,
yung exposure pa lang let's say, nag-shoot ka ng 4-hour shoot, ginawa mo, or throughout the day. O pagdating sa video nyo, kailangan yung exposure noon, iisa.
Pantay.
Correct. Kaya
yung,
ang
sa still, ang daling gawin sa still yun, pwede mo i-mix lahat. Sa video, hindi pwede, mukhang gago yung video mo.
Pero here's the thing na ginagawa ng Lightroom ngayon, ng Photoshop, especially Lightroom. Meron sila ng color grading. Ang term na nila color grading, hindi na color correction. Tayo sa Photoshop, color correction.
No, hindi. Correct, Carlo. Dalawa yon. Maraming tao na iba pa rin yung color correction mo nang gagawin.
Yeah.
And then
sa
color
grading. Yeah.
Right. Marami nga nagkakamali na mimix nila yung two or inuuna nilang gawing color grading. Dapat color correction
muna.
Then color grading.
Right. Siguro dapat tayo magkaroon ng session dyan.
Yeah, yun ang maganda ka nang sabi ko sa'yo. Kaya dalay natin ulit si Ronsky. Kasi si Ronsky marami nang alam sa color correction or grading, sorry.
Right. Yeah.
Ang galing ng grading ni Ronsky, may pagka-orange and ibang grading niya eh.
Yeah, iba. Yun yung sa taste niya. Pero pag sinare niya yung technique ng mga kanya-kanya ng style, diba?
Yeah. Right. Kaya nga, again, going back in technology sa kay mga tools natin, nagbe-blur na rin line. Like yung sa Lightroom, meron siyang color grading na. Which ako, as an editor, for the longest time, color grading is our natural thing. Kumbaga sa okay, bakit ngayon lang? Kaya nga yung me jumping back and forth from photography and film and video is hindi naman mahirap at medyo sometimes parang mas gusto ko pag nasa still ka na lang dahil once you're done with one image, pero ang problema kasi minsan, again like you, perfectionist eh. One image mo can take you days and days and days na tapusin eh. Kasi di ba pwede mong kulitin eh.
Yeah.
Sa video, pwede mo rin kulitin, pero I guess to a certain extent dahil kailangan mo nang i-air or kailangan mo nang i-present sa kliyente mo. Plus, there's so much time. Parang so many things to do in such a short time.
Yeah.
Pero tama yung sinabi ni Sean kanina, lahat talaga nako-convert na sa video kasi ngayon, pwede ka na talaga kumuha ng still and then pwede mo na makuha yung raw image out of the, like sa mga drone ngayon, right? Pwede ka mag-shoot ng still, meron mga mapupulat mo yung raw image mo, pwede mong i-edit parang regular still photos. Yeah, ganun ang ginagawa nila.
Yung last Emmys, ganun ang ginawa nila. Bali, everything, video.
May tanong ako, sorry. May tanong ulit ako.
Mahina ka, Dennis, ha? Mahina daw volume mo eh. Kanina pa eh. But, bago mo nilalakasan yun, hi to buong Malabanan first. Go ahead, Dennis.
Dito tanong ko kay Sean kasi naalala ko dati, medyo malakas pa rin ng print noon eh. So, pag may client ka na they're talking about distribution, di ba? Kasi ngayon, puro online na eh. ano ang pinagkaiba noon and right now? Like, you think na, as far as like, kasi binabayaran ka rin for the distribution. So, paano yun kung lahat ng platform na gagamitin nila is not really for print anymore?
Yeah. Yeah, yun din ang parang pumatay sa mga sa budget ng photographer. I mean, budget for the photographer. Kasi nung araw, nung print yung medium, mahal lang pwede mo singilin eh.
Yeah.
Kasi ang singilan doon is yung usage ng retrato mo.
Right.
So, sabihin natin, if they were going to print magazines, and your picture was going to be printed 100,000 times, you know, that's what you're charging for, right? They're using it 100,000 times.
Yeah.
No online, how do you control that?
Yeah, you can't.
Lahat nakakita. So the rates had to be different, and then it just killed everything because, you know, now it's for out there for everyone to see. So the rates didn't reflect that anymore. You couldn't charge based on usage. And in the same way, I mean, you still do, but it's not in the same way as you did with film, like with film and print. Because at print, you could even do like, how many different types of printing are you doing? Are you just doing magazines? Are you doing billboards? Are you doing bus stops? Like all those things carried a certain price.
Not including extensions too.
Yeah, and collateral images. So it's so different now. It's so different. I don't even know like how, like it's been a while since, you know, I've done like work in the field, so I don't even know what people are charging now. One of the reasons I got it was the rates went down so much. Like for a job that we were doing, you know, $5,000 a day, all of a sudden it was like 1,000, maybe $500. I was like, I can't live on that, you know.
Kasi nga saturated na at marami ng kumbaga sa ito gagawin nito gagawin niya mas mura, doon na lang ako.
Yeah.
Okay.
Tapos may added value pa sila sa followership ng tao.
Yung tao. Yeah.
Imagine yung mga 10 years down the road, no? Ano kaya mangyayari, no? Ma-obsolete kaya lahat yung mga full frame cameras kasi everything nasa phone na, right? And then you can blow up yung image. Ang dali pang right on the spot, pwede mo na i-publish. Paano kaya yun, ano?
Eventually, virtual na lahat yan. So, meron ka na lang Oculus. Doon mo na nakita lahat. And you can create your image right there and then. Hindi mo na kailangan kunan.
Finishan kanina yung workshop, hindi na ano ngayon kasi everything nasa YouTube na nga, right? Paano ka makakapag ng workshop kung everything nasa YouTube na tutorial? Parang
nung time na ginagawa natin yung workshop, Joey, kaunti lang nun no?
Yeah, right. Nalilesen na nun eh.
Yeah. So bilang lang yung gumagawa ng workshop. Kaya I mean, we were doing really well. And then after that, wala, lahat gumawa ng workshop.
I remember, naalala ko nun, yung kami ni Sean nun eh. Di ba, kinausap kita nun, sabi ko, why don't you come up with a workshop? Punta kang Pilipinas. And then napaisip siya, I don't know about that. And then you guys came up with the prep to post.
Yeah.
Naalala ko yun eh.
No, pero kanina yung binabanggit natin na YouTube, right? Pwede ka naman maggawa ng parang virtual or i-record mo sa YouTube. Pero alam mo, yung sinasabi ni Joey kanina na paano na kaya kung 10 years from now, kung may negosyo pa tayo. Ako ngayon, merong bangko dito sa Pilipinas, sa Canada, ang tawag is RBC. So, accredited photographer ako doon para sa mga empleyado nila. So, for things like that, lalo na mga corporate customers, I think meron pa rin mga pwede pa rin magkaroon ng konting business. It's not not everyone is on Instagram or social media that's the only way to make money. So meron pa rin mga ganun na they still would like that studio setting, may camera ka. So meron pa din.
Pwede ka rin mag-fine art photography.
Yeah. On the
alam mo kung sinong do you guys know si BJ Fomento? Kilala niyo yun?
No.
Formento. So anyways, gumagawa siya ng mga very like conceptualized na parang fine art. Filipino din siya. Asawa niya, I think, is puti. So team sila. Formento ata yung sa Instagram. Ang galing na ginagawa nila. Tapos gumagawa rin sila ng workshop na kasi very unique yung look ng images niya eh. So I think it's another avenue is probably fine art.
Yeah, fine art.
Like a certain for photography. So I mean, it's it's like I said, it's not the end of the world.
Right. Yeah.
It's hard. It's just I kind of just want to see where it does take us, because for a while we were thinking, you know what, the social media thing, eventually it's gonna go back to the way it was, but I don't think I don't think it was. I think the influencer bubble, I think that's gonna end, and I don't know what's gonna take its place. But
nakita niyo yung sa sa social media, merong taco stand dyan sa LA. Sabi niya, influencers pay double. Nakita niyo yan?
Yeah.
Kasi influencers palagi nanghihingi ng pagkain eh.
Kasi sinasaturate nila eh. It's their downfall. Yan ang magiging nila eh. Kasi if you take advantage, ng sabi mo, I'm an influencer ako, I'll take care. Yeah, I'll take. Give me free stuff so I can. I have 1 million followers or whatever. But I don't think that's gonna fly anymore. Kasi siguro ngayon, na yung mga advertisers lang. I don't think that's gonna work anymore. Kasi it worked before. Hindi na uulitin yan. Pero again, going back fine art as in extremes. I think yan ang it's gonna carry on. Kasi like. Film is coming back for some. Lalo na yung mga large format, bumabalik-balik na naman yan dahil kasi syempre saturated na lahat ng from small cameras to medium size cameras, mirrorless, lahat ng klaseng yung accessible camera. Pero ngayon nagiging yung mga inaccessible nagiging in na naman siya. So I mean, one of the things na siguro babalik is film kasi bumabalik din ang in terms of shooting sa even digital video, bumabalik ang Super 8, bumabalik ang 16mm, bumabalik yung So eventually siguro yung mga technical guys, yun ang magbabalik ng art. Yun yung magbabalik ng talagang hardcore photography.
Yeah.
Kasi masasaturate.
Yeah. It's gonna. I mean, it will still have its place. I just don't think commercially anymore. It's gonna be commercially. It's gonna be very niche market. But I mean, there's always like I just went to art exhibit at the Vancouver Art Museum, and they had it was like mostly photography, and they had featured one photographer. And I remember, I was there with my girlfriend Lindsay. She's a photographer too. She does mostly family and weddings. So we both went there. We were just like kind of unimpressed at the quality of the work. And I was like, how did this person get almost like a solo show at like the Vancouver Art Museum, which is like MoCA or MoMA.
Yeah.
Equivalent. Like it's a big museum.
And 1 million followers.
Yeah. But so I think that if and then in my mind I'm like, kung nagagawa niya to, magagawa ko rin to. Yeah. So I think eventually, when I find how I want to present my photography, I think I'm gonna gear towards doing like a fine art thing.
Good. Dapat nasa Pinoygraphers din yan.
Yes.
Pag nag-launch ka na.
But hindi ako nagkaroon ng merch ng Pinoygraphers. Yun ang tanong ko.
Si Joey, ang tanongin mo. Sorry.
Si Joey, never ako.
Canada na si Sean, so...
Nawala ka daw eh.
Nagagawa tayo. Medyo na alam mo, kahit pa paano, kahit pa konti-konti, nabubuhayan na rin yung mga tayo uli, right? May mga So, hopefully, magtuloy-tuloy ito. And then, gagawa tayo. Kasi homemade yung akin Sean eh. So, pagka mass produce na, magkakaroon tayo.
Okay.
Yeah.
We'll make it happen.
Paraffol ba yan? Paraffol?
Yeah, pwede tayo magpa-contest, right? But Carlo, 1 hour 20 minutes na tayo eh. Para tayo si Joe Rogan ito eh.
Maganda usapan eh. So, yeah.
So, ano ba ang next tambay ulit tayo next week? Yung bang plano?
Tambay next week. Thank you, Sean.
Tayo ulit.
Tayo
ulit 5.
Tayo ulit. Okay.
Oo, tsaka kung sino imbita tayo ulit, right?
Yeah.
But I guess, any last words, Joey, Dennis?
We're good.
Yeah, you good?
Yung kay Dennis kanina, side joke lang yung Dennis yun ha.
Hindi totoo yun, yung sa makeup artist.
Hindi totoo yun.
Side joke. Side joke.
Nakakatatlong session na tayo, panay ang makeup artist ninyo sa akin.
Hindi ko kasi talaga alam yung kwento tungkol doon. Sabihin mo na kasi kung ano yung kwento.
Buti na lang hindi nagtatagalog yung pulyan.
Okay.
Okay.
Pero umiinit ng tenga nun.
Okay. Salamat. At next week, tayo lang next week eh, no?
Tayo ulit.
Okay.
Si Alex, mag-imbita pa tayo. But anyway, see you guys. Maraming salamat po.
Thank you, Sean.
Thank you.
Good night.
Okay.